and welcome to this special show, Next Gen Financial Services, Automation in M-Commerce, and the spotlight today is going to be on mutual funds. But before we get to mutual funds, really, automation in M-Commerce, we're talking about the mobile phone and the magic of what all you can do with it. We've seen a lot happening in the world already with the excitement from Apple. You have the iPhone, you have the Google Android, you have the Samsung Galaxy Tab, you have all of these devices. But really, what does it do for you when you're talking about transactions? A lot, actually, and you can see many of the companies investing heavily in this space. Clearly, mobile commerce is going to be a game changer in the days to come. You have the Google Wallet, that's something to reckon with. You also have big retailers like Target and Walmart now actually going ahead and putting in a lot of research and money to set up alternate payment mechanisms, so you won't have your standard credit card distribution networks that you will use. You will actually use the mobile phone network to put your transactions through. In the Indian context, you've seen many of our own cell phone companies actually go out and show you how you can put money onto your phone and use it for transactions. And of course, the RBI has done a lot in this space as well in terms of setting up the entire banking infrastructure at the back end. You have the IMPS. You also have the National Financial Switch, which helps to use your ATM network in order to make these transactions from phone to phone, from bank account to bank account possible. But how is all of this applied in the mutual fund world? We'll try and figure out more of that today. Let me first introduce my panel to you. Let me start with Mr. Sandeep Prabhani. We have Mr. Edwin Ritkirk. We have Mr. Bhalchandra Joshi. And we have Mrs. Praveena Rai. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with you, Sandeep. Mutual funds and what mobile commerce can do for you. At the current point of time, not more than 5 to 10% of entire mutual fund business and collections is transacted on the net or maybe on the mobile. How do you see this progressing?
Clearly, this is something that's going to increase because this is at its infancy at this point of time, where you've got the internet linked to your bank account. But clearly the leap that's going to be made, I think, in our opinion, is going to be on the mobile platform, because that gives you tremendous convenience, flexibility and ease of transaction onto a simple handheld device, as against, let's say, our internet, where you're going to have a slightly bulkier package in front of you to try and navigate. But just at the click of a button, you can actually move money from your account into the mutual fund account, get units. You have pull-based SMSs, you have push-based SMSs where information can be retrieved and given, and a lot of data flow that can happen on the mobile platform. It increases convenience, it increases the speed, and obviously the efficiency at which the asset manager can actually service its customers. So going forward, this has to increase as mobile usage really penetrates all the way down. Okay.
So here's an interesting statistic that we've come across. 800 million ballpark mobile phone users, of which 100 million actually do net surfing. 20 million of those are actually on GPRS, and of that only 2 million actually transact on the mobile. So really, we're looking at the 2 million at this point of time. How do we see that going up? Mr. Joshi, your views on this? So this is a rather skeptical view to it, that it'll take a long time before the mobile can really become widespread in M-commerce.
No, in fact, if you see the journey in last decade or so, when you see internet banking and relate that internet banking to banking experience, about 8 to 10% of banking transactions have already moved into bank platforms, right? Now, when you see that and compare that with mutual funds, what has happened in mutual fund space so far? From a service side, if you see now in last 12 to 18 months, there are push-based SMSs wherein at every stage of your transaction, you receive proactive information from mutual fund side. So you as an investor, this is a convenience for you, right? You need some information from mutual fund about your investments. You can pull that information at any point of time that you need. So with push SMS and pull SMS, there is an investor convenience already established.
Well, Praveena, what's your take on this? Because we'll come to Edwin in a second. You know, everybody says it's a good idea. Right now, it's in its infancy stage. Let me just wait and watch how it actually works out in the industry, and then we'll get on, because it doesn't take you too much time to get on it. Let somebody else do the hard work. What do you say to that?
I think we have all the infrastructure in place. We have low-cost phones today. We have telcos who've ensured the 700 million, 800 million subscribers who are out there. And we have, mobile wallet providers. We have NPCI that's launched the IMPS service that you spoke about. And we have the banks that can stitch many of these things together to create the solutions that will work. So I think there is a huge amount of convenience to the investor.
So we've spoken about the convenience.
Yeah.
If you had to put down two big value propositions here, what would those be?
I think to the investor, it will be convenience and the ability to time the market. I want to redeem, I can do it today. I'm on the road, I'm not in front of a computer. I don't want to have to walk into a branch or go and meet a broker, write down a check or write down an instruction. So convenience and the ability to time the market. And to the fund house, it will be the ability to increase their assets. Of course, right now it will be, the quantum is much smaller, but that's the starting point to what will pan out and play out in the next few years. And to do that, at a cost-efficient basis, which is what the mobile platform will provide.
So we'll talk about the cost efficiency of all of this. But Edwin, how do you read this at the current point of time? If you had to make the effort to get your customers on board, just in terms of the information you need to give them, the education that you need to give them, as also your distributor network, how easy do you see that buy-in coming in?
Well, I think it's not an easy solution to start with, but I think it is something we should work at. So I truly believe that the combination of information with a transaction or an offer to a customer, that's where the real tipping point will happen. Because a lot of customers are used to getting information, rather being on their own request or on our request, sending them information. I think that's where, if we're able to combine these two, that's where, A, the customer will benefit because ease of use, convenient, and no mistakes. And we will benefit because you can really get a higher share of wallet. But it's not something, I think, that will happen overnight. It will demand a lot of education, both from the banking side and both from the AMC side. So it will take time.
No mistakes, you said. Is this a system where we can say that there will really genuinely be no mistakes? Because just the fidelity of our current mobile networks is so low, where you have call drops, where you have a lot of issues with just SMSs that get lost in transit quite often, connectivity that drops. How would you ensure that no mistakes happen? Sandeep, you've done some work in this. There's been a pilot study that you've done. Before we come to the product, what's been the experience just in terms of this fidelity of system?
Sure, there are going to be issues, where, in the pilot study that we did, there were problems with certain operators in certain circles. But we haven't really seen a large-scale failure that really goes on. And given the fact the way that our product is structured, every time a client actually sends an SMS, there is a very good response rate that comes back. So we've got, as Bhalchandra spoke about, push SMSs that you keep the client informed as to what has really happened. So the way in which we actually take this product is that when an investor makes an SMS, he gets instant information whether that SMS has been accepted, rejected, received, and at what NAV this investment has been applicable. And therefore, in this environment, we haven't seen customers complaining about the fact that their SMSs are not reaching. So there
is a way to know that it's actually happened. Yes. If it's not, then they will resend. Yes. Okay.